All we're doing now is just kind of taking a moment to take a breath because we've learned a lot of rules and just trying to remind ourselves when the heck we would have to apply these rules. So, do you agree product rule is when we've got two functions multiplied by each other, an f times a g. Then we got to go fig plus gif. And so I just let you know what it is. This is a little, oh wait, they actually wrote gif plus fig. Is that the same as fig plus gif? Didn't they do g prime f plus f prime g? Yeah, but it's the same as fig plus gif. Then if you've got a function divided by a function, what'd they do here? Low d high. So if it helps you to write that this is actually low d high minus high d low all over low low, you can. But if you're like, I'm good, don't worry about it. And then what makes us have to do chain rule over here? We have an outer and an inner, a function within a function, like he said. This one would be my outer, and then this would be my inner. And to take that derivative, we know we got to eat that candy shell of our M&M first, leave the chocolate, and then take the derivative of that chocolate. So I said determine the best rule above to find this derivative. On this guy, do you think we need a product rule, quotient rule, or chain rule? Chain rule. This one's going to require chain rule. And what's the derivative of my outer? E is kind of an annoying one. Kind of, but kind of not. We love E, but we kind of hate it too. E is technically my outer, and tangent's my inner. What's the derivative of E? E to the tangent. We left the inner times the derivative of tangent. Eyeballs might wander over there. We want to start remembering it in here. Derivative of tangent, secant squared. Okay. Ooh, product, quotient, or chain rule here. Chain again. Don't I have a function on the outside? And then its cute little inner function. So it's going to be chain rule again. Natural log. Derivative of natural log of x is 1 over x. So the derivative of natural log of flubbity flub is going to be 1 over flubbity flub. 1 over flubbity flub times the derivative of flubbity flub. 10x. Danny Main, could I say that that's just 10x over 5x squared plus 1? Danny Main, could I say that that's just 2 over x plus 1? Nope. No, why can't I, you guys? Because we have that addition down there. Yeah, that's like saying, sorry, Danny, I set you up for failure there. That's like saying if we had 2 over 5 plus 7. Let's just put it that way. Do you agree that that's really 2 over 12? Danny, is that the same at, oh wait, nothing's canceling. Bad problem, hold on. Let's make that 2 plus 7. Do you agree that's the same as 2/9? Is that equal to 1/7? No, and it's because of that addition, yeah. So we can't do that. But yeah, so you're saying if it was 2 plus 7 over 2?
Yeah.
No, because this one, careful.
But could you split it into like...
Oh, yeah. This could be 2 tooths plus 7 tooths, which is 9 tooths. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah.
Great. How about this one? Product rule, chain rule, quotient rule. Yeah, I got 5x times ln of x. That's very good. What's fig, f prime? 5 times g. ln of x. You with me, Wilson? Plus derivative of natural log is 1 over x times 5x. This one, Danny Main, could I rewrite as 5? Yes, he said that confidently. I love that. 5 ln of x plus that could just be a 5. You don't need to simplify, but 5x over x, because there's no addition or any subtraction. Yeah, that's just a 5. Derivative of inverse cosine. Gross. Derivative of cosine is negative sine, but that's not asking what's asking. It's asking what's the derivative of inverse cosine. You're like, okay. I know it's the same as inverse sine, but it's negative. And don't forget, it's the negative 1 over, so let's go ahead and say my dy dx is negative 1 over square root of 1 minus the angle squared. The angle here is kind of big, 2x plus 3, and we're going to square it. We just did that. What do we need to multiply that by? So good. What's the derivative of that angle? 2. Could JC write his answer like this? Yeah, he totally could. Product rule, chain rule, quotient rule. Chain rule. Don't we have this big old outer and then this big old inner? Maybe it would help us to write it as 4x minus x squared to the what power? Nice. That's actually to the 1/3 is my original. Now let's go find that derivative. What's the derivative of that outer? 1/3. Leave the inner. 4 minus x squared to the, take that exponent down by 1. Nice. 1/3 minus 1 or 1/3 minus 3/3 would be negative 2/3 times the derivative of that inner. Beautiful, Sane. You're doing it. We're doing great. Ooh. Ooh. Product rule, quotient rule, chain rule. Or could we rewrite it to do power rule? We could rewrite this. How would we rewrite that? That's the original. No calculus done yet. Now what's the derivative? Is that the same as negative 12 over x to the 5th? Yeah. Now, was that easier? Or could you have done quotient rule? You do not need to write this down, but could you have done quotient rule and gone low, d high, minus high, d low, all over low, low, 0 times anything 0, and I would have gotten negative 12x cubed over x to the 8th. Is that the same as negative 12 over x to the 5th? Yeah. Isn't there a lot more room for mistakes over there? Yeah. So I would say, let's stick with this. What do you think on this guy? Shaking your head no, Matney. What's up? Yeah, I don't blame you. Because you see this inverse sign and you're like, these are the worst. Capital T, capital W, the worst. That is very funny. I've never heard it said that way. You're exactly right. That x is being multiplied by that thing. Because any trig function can't exist without its little angle, right? So if these are being multiplied, what rule do we have to do? Product rule. Here we go. What's fig? 1 times g, which is inverse sine of x. There's fig right there. Plus gif. Derivative of inverse sine is 1 over big ol' root 1 minus the angle squared. What's my angle here? X, and I'm just going to square it. What about this part? Times du dx. It's just 1. Do we need to say times 1? We don't have to. But what do we need? That's g prime. What do we need? F, exactly. We need that x. Very good. We did it. Which rule are we doing? She said all of them. You're not wrong. We're going to go quotient rule. We're going to go quotient rule, people. We got this. What is low? E to the 2x plus 3. That's my low. D high. Good. Low D high minus high. Whoa, my pen just got really fat. D low, we have to chain rule. We have to chain rule this because we have an outer and an inner. Okay, low D high minus high. D low, the derivative of E to the anything. You just write it. So I'm going to put in parentheses, E to the 2x plus 3 times the derivative of the anything. 2.
How is E the outer in that?
I know, E is annoying. So the reason it's the outer, because you agree that the derivative of E to the x is E to the x. Like, E always stays. So you have to take the derivative of that outer, meaning, yeah, it's just E is always the outer. I don't know, have an explanation for it. Meaning, whenever you see an E, buddy, I just want you to always rewrite everything that's in front of you. E to the 2x plus 3, and then you're going to multiply by the derivative of the exponent. I know, we got a lot of rules, and that is one of them. All over, low, low. Mandy's going to be so mad because there's an X sandwich and an E in this one. We got this, though. Matt Raker, what did we just say about anything with an E? It's going to be the outer, and so we're going to just rewrite it. E to the anything is E to the anything. Oh, gosh. Times the derivative of the anything. What do we have to be worried about with this anything? Yes. Doesn't this anything have two different functions being multiplied together? We got to go product rule of this exponent. What is f prime? 1. Not even going to write it. G. Sine. Plus g prime. So good. And then times my f. Very good. So Sadie, you might just be like, I always put my f in front, and that's fine, because honestly, it looks a little better than cosine of x times x, you know? So I'm down with that, Sadie. Okay. Not going to say anything anymore. Yeah. Hoo-wee! What rule are we doing? We got something times something. Good. We got to product rule this. What's the derivative of e to the x? E to the x. Ooh, times the derivative of its exponent. So we don't have to worry about that, which is nice. That's fig. I'm sorry, that's f prime. Times g. I might rewrite my g like this just to help me with my g prime coming up. Do you agree that's fig? F prime, g. Now I need g prime. People, we can do this. What's the derivative of sine of x to the 5th? What rule do we have to do now? Chain rule? Because we got an outer and an inner. Whew. What's the derivative of that outer? 5 something to the 4th, right? Bring that 5 out front. That's okay. Bring that 5 out front. Leave that inner. You're fine. Times the derivative of that inner. Derivative of sine? Cosine. Whoa, that all was g prime. Let me say that one more time. We took the derivative of the outer, 5 something to the 4th. We left the inner. Times the derivative of the inner. Times f. We need times f still. Sheesh. This is saying, hey, arctan, do you guys agree is the same as inverse tan? This is the exact same thing as inverse tan, and that's how I have them written up here. And they're asking what's the derivative of it. They're like, okay, inverse tan is Mrs. Turner's favorite because there's no square roots and there's no minus signs. So I know it's going to be 1 over 1 plus the angle squared times the derivative of the angle. I'm with you. This one deserves a lip up. Wait, the derivative of this angle. Riker, what do we do whenever we see e's? Yeah, and we just write the same thing, right? We just say e to the 2x. But don't forget to times the derivative of that exponent. What's the derivative of that exponent? 2. Good job. Great question. Ready? So the derivative of inverse tan is always just 1 over 1 plus that angle squared. You're good with this part. That angle was e to the 2x. Then we squared it. Then we got to multiply by the derivative of that angle. Can't say anything. That angle is an e to the 2x. The derivative of e to the 2x is e to the 2x times the derivative of its exponent. Which one is this looking like? B. We know the derivative of natural log of x is 1 over x. So what's the derivative of natural log of 2x plus y? 1 over 2x plus y. Careful. It's really easy to forget the derivative of that inner. What's the derivative of 2x? Nice, Riker. He says the derivative of 2x is a 2. What's the derivative of y? Yes. Good job. And then they said it equals x plus 1, so we got to keep taking derivatives. What's the derivative of x? Sorry, yeah, what's the derivative of x? What's the derivative of 0? What's the derivative of 1? Good job. Now they want dy dx by itself. Do you want to distribute this thing, or do you want to multiply by 2x plus y? Yeah, wouldn't that get rid of it, DM? If I multiply by its reciprocal, which is a 2x plus y, these are gone. And I get a 2x plus y over there. So I'm left with 2 plus dy dx is 2x plus y. And then we just want to get dy dx by itself. Which of the following could be used to find the slope of the line tangent to the curve? They were just saying a lot of words to say, go take the derivative. That's all they want. And as soon as you see inverse sine, we gag a little bit, justifiably so. Inverse sine is always 1 over the square root of 1 minus its angle squared. Are all these looking kind of good for that part? Like 1 over 1 minus the angle squared. This guy's got a little bit more going on up there. A little more going on. Okay. So maybe I'm just going to try it off the side. 1 over 1 minus the angle squared. And I got a big old square root over that. What do we need to multiply that by? The derivative of that angle. Good. What's the derivative of 2x squared? 4x. What's the derivative of y squared? Nice. 2y dy dx. Anytime there's a y, it's got to be followed with a dy dx. That's so good. So it's not A. He's saying A is missing that chain rule part. I like that, Maine. Ooh, could we just be done right now? Which one of these is right? Yeah, these two are missing the dy dx because we all miss it. It's very easy to miss the dy dx, right? So I'm feeling D.
How is there a negative on the other side?
Great question. Great call. How would I rewrite this to take this derivative? 2x to the -1. Right, Danny? If I don't want to do quotient rule, yep, and then that derivative would get me minus 2x to the -2nd. Yeah, great question. I almost took that one off. AP is not going to ask you that question, but I just figured it was good for us to, see all those nitty gritties. Oh, this is a good one. Which one does not require the chain rule? This one could be a little confusing. Let's talk about D. Does D require the chain rule, outer and inner? Yeah, this one definitely has an outer and an inner. Let's talk A. Does A have an outer and an inner? Those ones, in my opinion, are obvious. One of the next ones doesn't require chain rule, and one does. But they look kind of similar. One's implicit and one's explicit, meaning one has my y by itself and one has the y in the function. Yes, exactly, Clifford. What are you circling? How'd you know that? Okay, well, good intuition. When that y is by itself, you're like, oh, the derivative of y is dy dx. When it's in here, you got to say this is 5y to the 4th times dy dx. This is like the outer and the inner. So AP is also not going to ask us that question, but I thought it was good to see.